Peace, blessings, health, and wellness to you sincere brothers out there prophesying and teaching, doing the work of the Lord with sincerity and truth. And also you believers out there that believe on the gospel. And it's your brother Nick come back at y'all another lesson through the Spirit, man. And today I want to, pretty much go into a part 2 of the lesson that I've done previously before concerning the famine. And the byproduct of famine, which is cannibalism, which people are going to resort to because of the lack of food, lack of resources to survive. I left off in that video by saying, before it cut out, because it's just because my storage been acting stupid lately. But anyways, before it cut out, I was speaking about how it's in the prophecies, how a lot of women gonna be out here eating their children, in a famine, which was prophesied in the Holy Bible to happen in the last days. And the famine to come, in our lifetime, is gonna be the worst famine that the world has ever seen before, man. And I mentioned in that video that I was going to get a couple of examples on how that actually happened in our history. In 2 Kings, the 6th chapter, during the famine of Samaria, and also in 70 AD, when the Romans besieged Jerusalem. That account there is in the Josephus, the Flavius Josephus, which was an Israelite historian, But without further ado, man, let's jump into it. The first example I want to get concerning the cannibalism, the first account, is in the Josephus, man. And this is book 6. It says this is of the war, containing the interval of about 1 month from the great extremity of which the Jews were reduced to the taking of Jerusalem by Titus. And you go down to chapter 3. Go down to chapter 3, let me scroll down. It says, concerning a stratagem that was devised by the Jews, by which they burnt many of the Romans, with another description of the terrible famine that was in the city. And that's what we're going to read. We're going to read about the terrible famine and what happened during that time. All right, let's go down. All right, so number 3. Now of those that perished by famine in the city, which is in Jerusalem, during the Roman Empire, during the siege, the number was prodigious, and the miseries they underwent were unspeakable. For so much as the shadow of any kind of food did anywhere appear, a war was commenced presently, and the dearest friends fell a fighting one with another about it, snatching from each other the most miserable supports of life. Nor would men believe that those who were dying had no food, but the robbers would search them when they were expiring, meaning when they was dying. The people on the ground that was dying, they didn't care that they was actually dying or faking it or whatever. They still checked them anyway. That's how bad it was, to see if they had some food on them or not, to see if they was faking or anything. But it says, lest anyone should have concealed food in their bosoms and counterfeited dying. Nay, these robbers gaped for want, meaning they, lack of food, and ran about stumbling and staggering along like mad dogs, and reeling against the doors of the houses like drunken men. They were also, in the great distresses they were in, rushed into the very same houses 2 or 3 hours, I bet 2 or 3 times in 1 hour and the same day. Moreover, their hunger was so intolerable that it obliged them to chew everything, while they gathered such things as the most sordid animals will not touch, and endured to eat them. Nor did they at length abstain from girdles and shoes, and the very leather which belonged to their shields they pulled off and gnawed. The very wisp of old hay became food to some, and some gathered up fibers and sold a very small weight of them for 4 drachmas. I think it's pieces of silver. It says, but why do I describe the shameless impudence that the famine brought on men in their eating inanimate things, while I am going to relate a matter of fact, the like to which no history relates, either among the Greeks or barbarians. 'Tis horrible to speak of it, and incredible when heard. I had indeed willingly omitted this calamity of ours, that I might not seem to deliver what is so portentous to prosperity, but that I have innumerable witnesses to it in my own age. And besides, my country would have had little reason to thank me for suppressing the miseries that she underwent at this time. So it's about to speak about a certain female that ate her child. Number 4, there was a certain woman that dwelt with young Jordan. Her name was Mary. Her father was Eleazar of the village Bethazar, which signifies the house of Hyssop. She was eminent for her family and her wealth. So she came from a family that was well to do. It was upper middle class type family in Israel. It says she was eminent for her family and her wealth, and they had fled away to Jerusalem with the rest of the multitude, and was with them besieged therein at this time. The other effects of this woman had been already seized upon, such, I mean, as she had brought with her out of Perea and removed to the city. But she had treasured up besides also what food she had contrived to save, had been also carried off by the rapacious guards, who came every day running into her house for that purpose. This this put the poor woman into a very great passion. She was super mad. Says, and by the frequent reproaches and imprecations she cast at the rapacious villains. So it was breaking into her house, trying to take the food that she tried to save. She tried to, the little food that she was able to procure, and have, you know, those those zealots had came in there and took it from her. And she got mad. She was beating on them and cursing them out. But it says, she had provoked them to anger against her, but none of them, either out of the indignation she had raised against herself, or out of the commiseration of her case, would take away her life. And if she found any food, she perceived her labors were for others, and not for herself. And it was now become impossible for her anyway to find any more food, while the famine pierced through her very bowels and marrow, when also her passion was fired to a degree beyond famine itself, nor did she consult with anything but with her passion and the necessity she was in. She then attempted a most unnatural thing in snatching up her son, which was a child sucking at her breast. It's an infant. She said, "O thou miserable infant, for whom shall I preserve you in this war, this famine, and this sedition? As to the war with the Romans, if they preserve our lives, we must be slaves. This famine also will destroy us, even before that slavery comes upon us. Yet are these seditious rogues more terrible than both the other? Come on, be thou my food, and be thou a fury to these seditious varlets, and a byword to the world, which is all that is now lacking to complete the calamities of us Jews." As soon as she had said this, she slew her son and then roasted him. That's tough, man. See, that's a fulfillment of the curses, man. It's fulfillment of the curses. Let's grab a quick scripture real quick. It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 9. They that be slain with hunger, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for the want of the fruits of the field. And that's pining away, your flesh withering away from lack of sustenance. It's painful, right? It's a slow and painful death, man. It's a lot of mental and physical suffering that goes along with dying of starvation, of starving, right? And it'll lead people to do anything, man, to subside their hunger pain. The hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. Sodden means to submerge in water or boil. But in this case, she roasted her child. It says, they were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. And that destruction is coming back in a way that the people in the world cannot even imagine. Verse 11, the Lord have accomplished his fury. He have poured out his fierce anger, and have kindled a fire in Zion, and they have devoured the foundations thereof. Yeah, the Lord's about to accomplish his fury and pour out his fierce anger upon our people in this lifetime, which is Jacob's trouble. The great tribulation and the famine is going to come. And this was just one woman that ate her kid back then. And the scriptures, say in Ecclesiastes 1 and 9, that the thing which have been is that which shall be. There's no new thing under the sun. So if it happened back then, it's going to happen this time, in this time, and perhaps even worse. And we know it's going to be worse. So the hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They're going to be their meat in the destruction, man. They're going to be their food in the destruction. When the society collapses, bitches gonna eat their kids, gonna kill them and eat them, roast them up, cook them. And this shit happening now, man. This shit happening now too, because there's this woman that recently, it's a black woman, and by the way, stay away from the black woman, man. She ain't no good, but the devil, man. She demon, straight demon. But anyways, it was a B-dub that put her child in the oven, man. Recently. And the scripture said, if they do these things in the green tree, what shall be done in the dry? So If they do these things while the society is still up and running, what you think they're gonna do when America falls, when America collapses, man, when all hell breaks loose out here and the power go out? Mm. So she said, hold on, let's see. As soon as she said that she slew her son and then roasted him and eat, it says, and eat the one half of him and kept the other half by her concealed. Upon this, the seditious came in presently, smelling the horrid scent of this food. They threatened her that they would cut her throat immediately if she did not show them what food she had gotten ready. She replied that she had saved a very fine portion of it for them, and withal uncovered what was left of her son. Hereupon they seized with an horror and amazement of mind and stood astonished at the sight. And when she had said to them, "This is mine own son," and that it says, "And what have been done was my own doing. Come, eat of this food, for I have eaten of it myself. Do you not pretend to be either more tender than a woman or more compassionate than a mother? But if you be so scrupulous and and do abominate this my sacrifice, as I have eaten the one half, let the rest be reserved for me also." After which those men went out trembling, being never so much affrighted at anything as they were at this. And with some difficulty, they left the rest of that meat to the mother, upon which the whole city was full of this horrid action immediately. So the word got out, you know, the word got out that she cooked her son, man, and that shit was crazy. It says the whole city was full of this horrid action immediately. So the word spread. It says, and while everybody laid this miserable case before their own eyes, they trembled as if this unheard of action had been done by themselves. So those that were thus distressed by the famine were very desirous to die, and those already dead were esteemed happy because they had not lived long enough to either hear or to see such miseries. Mm-hmm. It tells you what was going on during the famine in Jerusalem, man. It said their miseries they underwent were unspeakable. And 2 Edges 8:50 tells you how many great miseries shall be done to them that in a lot of times shall dwell in the world, because they have walked with great pride. You know, it's another scripture in Ecclesiastes, well, not Ecclesiastes, 2 Edges 15. You know, it said, because of their pride, the city shall be destroyed. Well, the city shall be troubled, their houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods for the lack of bread and for great tribulation, man. The things that happen in this, time in 70 AD is going to happen again on a much grander scale. It's going to be, robbers, people, gangs, militias, you name it, going through the streets of Babylon. What scripture they should be invading one another for the lack of bread. They could be invading one another, man. They could be breaking into each other's houses to try to find, food. That's why it says the robbers gate for lack. So they were super duper hungry. He says, and ran about stumbling and staggering along. Yeah, because the famine made them a little weak. It says, like madmen, like mad dogs, and reeling against the doors of the house like drunken men. They were distressed and rushed into the very same houses 2 or 3 hours in one day. You know, that's how bad it's gonna get. Just imagine the hoods. Just imagine the apartment complexes. You know, imagine your subdivisions, man. It's gonna get bad out here. It's gonna get extremely bad. And people gonna be eating anything, man. People gonna be eating anything and everything that they can get their hands on. They're gonna be eating they pets. They're gonna be eating rodents and bugs. They'll be eating every damn thing, things that you wouldn't even think that people would eat. They're gonna be eating that shit to try to survive, And a lot of people's going to die, man. Second 16 to 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, man. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. Motherfuckers will be eating shoes, eating belts, eating clothes, and we'll be eating hair products and shit. Damn, it's gonna get bad. They could be eating a goldfish, they could be eating their pet hamster and guinea pig, their lizard. You know what I'm saying? Their dogs, the cats. Motherfuckers gonna be eating everything, man. Cause the food gonna run out. They second Edge 6, and I wanna say it's 22. Second Edge 6 and 22. When it speaks about the sown places shall appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. It said that at that time, shall friends fight one against another like enemies. There'll be a lot of people, man, that once they realize that all the grocery stores, the corner stores, these different convenient, stores or whatever, gas stations, you name it. When it's been ransacked and emptied out, from people robbing and stealing and shit like that because of the power outage, they gonna resort, to taking what others have, and it don't matter if they your family members or their friends, they gonna turn on each other when it comes to food, man. And what a fitting judgment that the Lord's gonna send, because a lot of people in Babylon are gluttons, and food has been made so easily accessible, and people like eating abominable foods. You got the mukbangs, that shit going on, trending and stuff like that. A lot of people doing mukbangs, and yeah, it's super crazy and wild, man. The type of shit that people eat, and like this nigga named Big Groove. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what they call it, nigga. Big Groove. The little big ass nigga that be dancing and shit and eating, big burgers and pizza and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And a couple, degenerate jakes that be acting super foolish when they get recorded and shit. Eating food and shit. Man, I'll be like, bro, nigga be dancing. I'll be like, bro, keep that same energy when the famine comes, man. Lord, niggas like that, Lord, gonna starve to death, man. And a lot of people are foodies, especially women. Women are foodies, They live to eat, not eat to live. You know what I mean? A lot of people just super sick, man. They eat with every event, you know. somebody going away for a long period of time, would there be, you know, would they have like a little going away party for the military or college or something like that? You know what I mean? They'll eat. They have the people gather together in the black community for food. You know, they gonna eat that shit. They gonna eat when they're happy. They eat with funerals. They eat when the motherfuckers coming home.